So I want to just kind of push back a little bit on your post about specialization in high school being a bad thing. I would say it is maybe a bad thing prior to high school, but I think things change at the high school level. I think by your junior year in high school, maybe give or take a year, I think depending on how good you are, if a kid is really serious about wanting to play at the next level, they're going to need to specialize in it. The textbook even goes along with this when it says that athletes reach high school, the pretense of having fun is going to be replaced by the emphasis on winning. The best athletes receive the most playing time, while others are relegated to the bench. This isn't a bad thing, right? Rather, it teaches these kids how the real world is going to work. If you are good at what you're going to do, you're going to have more opportunity than those who aren't good at what they do. Now, it should not be miserable all the time. If it's not fun ever, that's a problem and needs to be addressed on a coaching and a culture level. You do mention there's a small percentage of athletes who will make it to the next level. That is true, but I don't really think that's a good reason for not trying, right? The next page on the book says that if you can find the proper balance between educational, athletic, and social time requirements, it might present challenges too difficult for young people, right? And that's kind of the thing you mentioned when we talk about burnout. But on the other hand, athletes that are successful at accomplishing this balance as teenagers should have an advantage in adulthood. So if we're coaches, right, or we're parents, our focus should be on teaching these high schoolers, right, how to balance these different aspects of their life while they're pursuing collegiate athletics or whatever their end goal is. That way, if they fall short, they've learned these valuable skills along the way, how to have boundaries, work-life balance, things like that. To go all in on something, in this case, we're talking about sports, is not a bad thing at all. If you're going to reach the end of the road and you can genuinely say, I've tried my hardest, like you can hold your head up high then. It's a much better place to be than you're sitting there at the end of your senior year wondering, man, would I have gotten an offer if I focused? I went all in on lacrosse. I went all in on basketball versus playing both, right? Maybe I would have made it. If you go all in on one and you don't make it, you can go, you know what? I gave it everything I had, and it didn't happen. And then I also think a lot of people not making it to the next level. Usually, what I've noticed, at least in a small town, is that's because it's Division 1 or bust for a lot of kids. I guarantee you there is a D3 NAIA or maybe even a low D2 school out there that would take anybody at an athletic ability. They might not get a scholarship, but they get the opportunity to continue to compete. And so I think that should be the focus. I think specialization in high school is actually to benefit of the athlete as long as it's in their later years. They get a year or two to kind of poke around, figure it out, and then make their decision from there.